Yeah, tomorrow or Wednesday. Yeah, I'm available tomorrow or Wednesday. So, but it was fun. So I went over there Wednesday. Had a couple nice visits and stuff. So yeah, brother. But this is just and tomorrow. AJ and I are going to the dinner for
You're going to the planner first to see
I
how
know
much
how
you can
much
well,
you can
spend.
spend
that's
there.
my goal. Is coming out of there. It's
Uh-huh.
like, oh, I don't know where we should go.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about
Or it's going to
that.
be like what Mallory's parents did. Their financial planner said, yeah, you could afford a house. And her mom bought a house sight unseen the
Yeah,
next week.
down here, right? I mean, yeah.
Yep.
No, no, it won't be that. But they do let you carry beer around with the whole carnival.
They do?
You can get a beer and then you just cruise around. Smartest thing
Makes it
they ever
easier.
did. Yeah, yeah. Kind of loosen up.
Yep.
Yep. But it's also it feels good to have it. So
That's,
we'll
yeah.
we'll go hang out.
Okay. A, yes. A26, lowercase. SHR9, I think. Yeah. Six. HR93. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard Anitra's not going to make it. I didn't hear from Kathy. And then there's still Daniel and the other vacancy in four. So um,
That's fine.
yeah, I mean, you guys have a hmm? He's done. Oh, he was Jesse's appointment. So I believe Jesse's leaving that open for Tom to come. Yeah, because Martin, I think you were at large. You were the mayor's appointment. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So and I think Amy has somebody in mind for her. So I would expect the May 6th meeting to have the second or fourth on it. Yeah.
Ward one is present in the county.
Yep. Yeah.
Hmm? A26, SHR93. And try to make sure you have your microphones on tonight. Okay.
Very official. Thank you. All right, it is 7:04 on April 10th, and we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Starting with attendance, Simon,
Present.
Martin,
Present.
Bess Bailey is here, Jen,
Here.
and Ryan,
Present.
and seems like no guests, and voting members absent. Anitra, Kathy West, and that's it because we have 2 open seats. Approval of the minutes is next. Can I get a motion to approve the March 13th agenda?
Move to approve.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor to approve the minutes from March 13th?
Aye.
Aye.
Approving those minutes. First thing we have on discussion is me. Hello. I have been made aware of fines that are pretty terrible. In support, I'm going to try to say this correctly. There is currently a Senate bill that is an act for municipalities. It is a fine for municipalities who enacts or adopts sanctuary city policies that support sanctuary cities for illegal immigrants. There is nothing to do with that right now. It is currently in a second read and has been referred to the General Laws Committee at the Missouri state level. I wanted to bring it up to you all because on other issues, we've declared ourselves as sanctuary city. But this is something that we should be aware of for the safety of many of our citizens in North Kansas City, and it's not something that I think is common knowledge for most. I heard of it because one of our council members brought it up to me, and I wanted you guys to be aware of it as well. It is Senate Bill 1227, and the headline is modifies provisions relating to illegal aliens, and it is up to a $25,500 fine per day. And again, like, I don't have a ton of information to deliver on it. I just know that that is something that I hope we don't have to get into discussing, but I wanted us to be aware of as one of the bigger areas in Kansas, or so close to Kansas City proper, that it may come up for more discussion in the future. And I would hate to have North Kansas City feel unsafe for our people who find safety and comfort living here, who are here for other reasons, or here for the safety and comfort of North Kansas City.
I'm with you. I agree. When I saw it on the agenda, I had spent a couple hours reading about it, things like that. It's kind of frustrating because I know when a lot of things like that happen, oftentimes it'll, result in like a legal battle of cities of our size versus the state, and stuff like that. As far as I know, our legal department is one lawyer and a bunch of caffeine. So hopefully it won't come to anything like that. But yeah, I think it's a good idea to call it out and, have it on your radar.
Just kidding, on where it currently stands. This is old, date-wise. I thought it was much newer based on my how often it's being looked at on Google. But it seems like this was done a while ago, and I need to do a little more research of more current things. So this is not an old topic, or not a brand new topic. It seems like it's been going on for a while. So that feels even yuckier.
To be fair, there are a lot of articles about it within the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. I think it's been brought up again. If anyone wonders why, we can have a longer conversation about that. But yeah, there's a lot of like retweets on it, and yeah, $25,000 a day is just so much money. And pretty much stands against a lot of the things we believe in as a committee. So yeah, just want to bring that up to you guys. And there's like no discussion, no movement we need to do, but I just think thinking holistically about all the different facets of life we consider and think about, this is another one of just like, oh yeah, we think about and stand for a lot of different pieces, kind of acknowledging the different preambles we could discuss, immigrant status, sanctuary status. That's definitely another one to consider. All right. Oh, yeah.
You can consider asking the city council to weigh in on this to the effect of saying, we oppose this kind of bill.
So that would be the council just essentially radiating their public stance.
Passing a resolution opposing that bill, yeah.
Okay.
To piggyback on what Bess was saying then, I don't want this to skip my memory. Has anybody heard of any stances towards the EIC, municipal EICs in general, compared to or in coordination with the federal stance on equity, inclusion, and everything? Has anybody seen any adverse language coming out of the pipeline from that? Because it wouldn't be surprising if it was.
Not yet.
In my circles, that's not something we've really discussed or seen a ton about, as far as the difference between our like municipalities versus our federals. And I think that is, I'm like really hoping we have bigger fish to fry. But I know that I feel like it was a fast and hard hit at the beginning of the year. And like we've moved on so rapidly to so many other things. I feel like EIC hasn't been brought back up to the top of the list in a while. I mean, like the biggest things I'm hearing are Target's losses are because of the economy, not because people are still protesting Target. And people are shopping more at Costco because people know there's a downturn in the economy, not the fact that they're standing behind their EIC policy or DEI policies, so people are preferring to use their money where their values stand. But I think like if you think of the top hits you get on Apple News, I'm not seeing a ton about DEI anymore or EIC. I'm seeing things about economy, tariffs, and that's it, versus DEI, unless I'm actively looking for it. So I think we're just jumping buzzword to buzzword.
Clearly, at the federal level, they are actively going. And it's not as much of a stretch to think that they would then proceed at the state and maybe even local levels in some cases. So I think preparation is good.
I know on the county level that there are talks about it with the county legislations. Not that they're trying to enforce it, but things that we're funding, they are taking those into consideration because we're losing funding because of some of those programs. Like Harvesters has lost their funding, and the local farmers market had some grants that they've lost that were pulled from it, and the county does a lot with helping to fund things like that. A lot of the local small businesses, they get grants from the county. So, and I'm not exactly sure where that money comes from or anything, but I know that that's something that the legislature the legislators are talking about when they're doing their budget talks.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's hard to keep up with everything that's said from the current administration because they talk a lot. I know that no official executive order has come down yet, but there has been promises in the past of like cities, smaller cities that have official DEI programs, that it will just be, if they keep those in place, we are going to remove their federal grant funding, those kind of things. And like, I've even talked to a couple of council members about it in the past and my concerns about it. I've talked to, Mayor DeLong about it in the past. And most of the time, the stance that I've gotten is, well, we don't get a ton of federal grant money anyway. But when the rubber meets the road, we'll see what that means.
Are we ready to move on to number 5? Great. This is going to sound so dumb. We have not met since I went to city council. That's correct? Yikes. Okay. It's been a long time. Hello. Sorry, it's been a very busy month or so. I went to city council. It was a lovely time. For some reason, people didn't think I actually like reading city ordinances. And in the last month, they have come up probably a dozen times. It matters, folks. It matters. So learn about them. And I've made jokes about owning chickens at least 10 times. And that was not part of the dozen that has come up. So I went to them with kind of the sheet we've been working on. And we talked a little bit about, like, is this the right way to go? Is this the right way to go? How could we clarify what makes sense moving forward? And essentially, the best way I think we can move forward is take the document that we've created together and divide it up into really just, is this a change to what is currently enacted that would impact like big ripples versus is this truly a definitional change or update based on definitions that have changed over time. An example, this is like my example that I'm going to use forever. Seeing eye dog versus service animal. Thank you. Service animal. I think that's a really good visual or a good example to hear because we know like the intent of a seeing eye dog or animal is to support a human with different needs than others. But like whether it's called a seeing eye dog or a seizure dog, I think everyone understands the intent of that animal to like support a human as a medical device of sorts. And we all get the rationale behind it and why the language needs to be updated versus like we're not actually saying like, no, we need to strike this out and replace it with a different ordinance. We just need to update the language. Because if we're able to do that, a lot of the language updating would be, we actually don't need to check with every department in the same way that we might if we're asking to like take out this entire section that is no longer relevant or like doesn't actually serve the needs of our current population. And then also, so take that in addition to the preamble we've voted on as a group and deliver that and say we voted on this, we want this language or draft the more we want, and then say like this is our first layer. These are just like word for word changes. And say like this is like the more like we need to check with different offices to see like does this still work? Does this intent still match what it was written for? Does it upkeep with the historical precedent of why it was written? Does it upkeep with like state law? Which is one of the other gaps that we have of like, does this still serve the purpose of why it was written, even if the language is no longer current? or is no longer fitting for what we live in 2025. So that's the path I see going forward, and I think that would be the cleanest, most actionable way to move forward with what we currently have. Thoughts?
It would probably satisfy a lot of what our attorney said.
Mr. Bursey.
Yeah, Mr. Bursey. It's probably satisfy a lot of what I heard him say, and actually it would speak to most of what we have, because most of what we have is language, just language issues. I think sounds good.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I completely agree, and honestly, I'm not really surprised. Like, I ended up watching that council meeting, and watching the last EIC meeting that I wasn't able to attend. And I'm not really surprised that that was kind of the response, because I know that, like, that's kind of Tom's job to go, okay, well, I agree with the idea of updating the language, but I also need to protect the city from getting themselves in hot water. So yeah, it would make sense that he would want to go through it and say, okay, this one might actually have some legal issues with changing. So like kind of splitting them up into those two categories makes a lot of sense.
And then another thing that was brought up, I don't remember if it was at our last EIC meeting or if it was at the council meeting. You brought it up, but including multiple preambles. One we have on gender identity, but what are the other like big blanket identities that we could make a statement on as North Kansas City? How do we view blank, blank, and blank? To use as like our guiding principle when you go into the ordinances. This is what we believe about blank. This is what we believe about, this is what we believe about religion. All people who come and choose us as a place to work and live and enjoy life, we believe that you're free to worship or not at your own discretion. Like free of criticism, punishment, whatever. I'm like, I don't know. That's an idea that was brought up, and I think if we had certain elements, if we wanted to move forward with that, I think it would make sense to have those multiple pieces of preamble together before we gave over this like definitional preamble path, which would probably require a shorter work session, but would require a little bit of legwork before we turned over this this definitional piece, if that's something we wanted to do. Thoughts on a set of preambles?
I'm not opposed to that. I can't really think of any other ones than the two that you just said, like off the top of my head. I do like the idea of like a lot of language around religion, and not just our municipal code, but in like most legalese, especially old stuff, is going to be specifically about, Christianity and, those kind of things. And I think it would be nice to have some sort of definitive preamble that says like, the freedom of religion that we're talking about is all religions, that kind of thing. So I can't really think of any other identifying factors that we would want preambles for. Are you proposing now that if that's the plan, that we have a work session to just bat out the preambles?
Mm-hmm. That would be my proposal.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
I think also like ability is another one with invisible, non-invisible. In the past, a lot of our code was written when ability was viewed as a guarantee. And I don't think that's this. I don't think medical, like wellness and health is viewed the same way as it was 15 years ago. There's a lot of invisible illness. There's a lot of abilities that are not considered a deficit. Neurodivergent was not considered as something that is actually a gift to people. And it's all framed in almost the negative throughout this entire city code. And I think if we discussed that as a preamble, that would also be important. Those are the things that I think we should consider, and I don't think there's a full list, and I think we could dive too deep into it, and like, that's an entire other set of city code we do not need to bring up. But I would just, before we have another session, I would ask all of us to consider, like, what are the things that stand out that seem deficit-based within our city code that we will want to highlight that are no longer deficit-based thinking, where we can't go in and like fix it for everyone or everything. Anyone ready to calendar?
I have my calendar pulled up now.
All right, let's do it. Just so everyone knows, my calendar for the next month is almost impossible. So you guys choose, and I will fit in where I can. And we're looking at May 8th for the next meeting. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So the meetings, like the work sessions that we have had in the past between, have been, I believe, Saturdays and Thursday nights. Like I've said in the past, I work Thursday nights and take one Thursday night off a month for this. But Saturdays are usually okay for me if I have enough in advance. May 3rd, the last Saturday before our meeting, works for me. If that works for anyone else.
I have no reason it won't work for me as of right now.
Oh, that's 3.
Okay.
I could do the morning that day.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping for like a daytime type of thing.
So let's do May 3rd.
Around brunch time?
I love brunch.
I can do before gymnastics or after gymnastics. Gymnastics are at 11:30. So 12:15.
Yeah, I'm okay with either of those. I can do before or after.
I can
What are
do
your AM
before.
plans?
Well, nothing in the AM, but I'm going camping in the PM. So,
Okay.
but we can't be there till 3 anyway. So, anytime in the morning works for me.
Could we do 9-ish? If I bring pastries?
Yes.
I really don't think this one would take too long. I think it takes maybe 15 minutes to craft the preamble.
Right.
And maybe we do it somewhere like McLean's. And I'll buy the box. Okay. Under the Oxbow.
So Saturday, oh, my phone locked up.
Saturday,
May
May 3rd.
3rd,
9 a.m.
9 a.m. All
Pastries
right.
on me.
Did you say it's at McLean's?
Can we meet there? Is that okay?
If you keep it to 4, that's not a 4.
But if all 5 of you are trying to go, that is a quorum.
We could say, you can do it at McLean's, because even if we have a quorum of council members go to Missouri Municipal League, then we'll just post that a quorum may be present, but they will take no formal action.
Yeah.
So as long as you guys don't vote. So yeah, we can say McLean's at 9, and just
That way
that,
I can at least
just don't vote on anything
We have no plans on voting for anything.
other than what Danish or.
And Bess will cover treats for committee members only. Please include that as a note.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that reminded me that I'd been wanting to ask about that. The concern about sunshine laws and having a quorum and all that, I don't just understand it, I agree with it, it should be a thing. But if there are 5 of us meeting, that's okay as long as we like announce that, right? We make it publicly known that, you know, we are gonna have enough for a quorum, but we're not gonna actually make a quorum, like,
Take any formal action. Yeah.
okay.
And that's why Megan will post, I think there might be times where there's less than 5 that go to the library, but we'll still post it just in case.
Right.
Kind of a better, but yes, you're right, we've gotta, if we know there's gonna be a quorum, then we post it.
Okay, awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, let's keep us moving. That takes us to council member updates.
Well, we'll be having a new mayor and new council members, but I can't imagine any lessening of support for DEI in North Kansas City, except maybe from Ward 2, the new
Yeah, one's a
Ward
real
2
jerk.
member. But other than
Real
that,
jerk.
no, joking. I don't see any lessening of that. And that may become more critical as things percolate down from the federal to the state, county, and local levels. We haven't had to face that before in a real way, but it may be coming. And we need to be aware of it and be prepared to respond should it come. That's about it.
Do you know, do other local municipalities have similar committees? Like, does Gladstone have something similar to this?
Gladstone, I don't know. I think Kansas City does. I don't know.
This is your time. No, I don't think Gladstone, Parkville, Riverside, Liberty, who did I leave out there? I don't think they do. I'm not positive, but I don't think so. Yeah, Kansas City does. But it doesn't, they might handle it under a different title or through a different method. But yeah.
Any comments from the public? Any announcements?
I read that you guys got 17th place for Snake Saturday.
I'm glad you said that. So the EIC committee received a check from the Snake Saturday. However, we can't receive awards. So last year, I believe the check was kind of handed over to the high school. So just wanted to, if you guys are cool with that, we'll make that arrangement. It was the high school multicultural, but their title. God, I'm getting it wrong, right? But you know who I'm talking about.
Do we need to vote on that?
Sure.
Great.
Yeah. Motion,
Can I get a motion to donate our
$150,
Our-
I believe. But
winnings
yes,
to the high school's version of their DEIA, EIC, multicultural ongoings?
A motion?
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yay, high school!
thank you.
I'll go ahead and clarify the joke about Ward 2. That's my husband. He's great. I really like him. He is a strong supporter of DEIA. I wouldn't be married to him if he wasn't. He has been asking for any recommendations for Ward 2. If you know a friend, care about someone in Ward 2 that would like to serve on this committee, please let us know, because he's been asking me, and all of my friends are very busy in the evenings with their toddlers, so.
I will, if I may. Megan and I were talking about when we got the check and said maybe next year the EIC committee should have something on the float that says, please don't judge us.
As far as announcements, this is the time when, like, the committee members just make their own. I just wanted to say with the election, congratulations to Kristen and Tom and Connor and Yvonne and Amy for either retaining or obtaining their seats. And I want to say that I really appreciate everything that Bryant has done for the city, and I hope to continue to see him as an active citizen and maybe on the council again in the future. And congratulations to Jesse, who has also, like Bryant, always been a friend of mine, and I'm excited to see him in the hot seat.
I absolutely second everything he said.
Yeah, we've got some strong advocates coming in. I know Jesse, whenever he has a question about something EIC related or ordinance related, he just texts me right away. He tipped me off to this sanctuary city fines. He asked me about some city code because a person in town had some questions about their emotional support animal. We are gaining another strong advocate who wants the best for our city. I'm really excited for that. Amy is wonderful and always has us in the back of her mind, supporting us, tossing people our way, bringing up ideas. Yvonne has served on our committee before. Kristen wants to learn. I'm really excited to have her in our corner. Did I miss anyone? Meh. I already talked about Tom. I'm really excited for this group coming in. I think they'll be really wonderful to work with. Not that the last group wasn't. But I'm really excited to see what can get done, especially now we've got the momentum of city ordinances with us. I think we're in a really good spot.
So mine's more of a question than an announcement. We're in April, so we've only got a couple more months before Pride starts. So we probably need to start thinking about that and getting that on our agendas. Do we know any information on that for this year?
How did the bubbles go for the parade?
I thought it was a blast.
Okay.
So like the two bubble machines that we had,
Yeah.
which may or may not be currently still sitting in my living room, they need to get brought back. We set them up in the back of the flatbed, pointed outward. They ran the whole parade. They blew away before they covered the marching band behind us. So.
Okay. So bubbles again?
Yes.
Okay.
I missed it. So
Okay.
want a
And then
I will say that the handheld ones, just a heads up, which we didn't realize until day of, that they play music.
oh, we knew.
Yeah, I think Megan, you found out beforehand. I learned that morning.
And the candy. How was your candy supply?
Oh, the candy supply was great. By the end of it, some people got some big handfuls.
So do that again. I'll get us signed up for Pride Parade.
Was it last year's Pride event where nothing could be handed out?
Yeah, I will look into what we can do.
Just to find out, yeah. Or was it beforehand you could, but not on the route? There's some.
Yeah, during
yeah.
staging we could, but during we could not. But also, we're giving out bubbles, and they're free, and everybody loves them. Yeah.
It looks like the date for the parade is the 7th,
June 7th.
June 7th. And the parade will run from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., plus or minus 12 million hours. Maybe there's going to be a breeze this year. Who knows? Probably not. Gosh, you're so hot. Blech. And then there were like 5 other details that probably mattered, but I've lost them. So sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get us
Oh,
signed up.
May 18th was the cutoff for sign up.
It's April. Okay.
Yeah, we got time.
So I'll get us signed up and then report back with any questions next month.
It is 7:39, and I call this meeting closed.